Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, Montel? Okay, Lizzie, Straw Hat. That's Fine Night. Byron, Team Rocket, 4BU. Time for some peak fiction. Yeah, both please make a video out of this. I need to go to bed. Um, I'll try and make this one an actual video that I'll put on there. You can sleep when you're dead. It broke more important. Kawhi the GOAT. Kawhi Leonard? I feel like he ain't done nothing since 2019. My uploads have not been consistent at all, but I appreciate that. Music Go Hard? Oh, appreciate that. That's actually made by my brother. He's definitely really good at it. Should be a link in the description to his website if you want to check out his music. But so basically, this YouTuber, I think it's MAHISTV. He made a video critiquing Black Clover, and as you can see, as in my thumbnail, that's his thumbnail put in there. It says I hate Black Clover, and yeah, he hates Black Clover, which there's nothing wrong. Like I don't expect or think that everybody should like Black Clover, but I also think if you're going to make critiques on a series, they need to be objectively correct. As in, you can't say something and that not being the case in the series. For example, in his video, he says that Asta has never lost a fight. So it's like, yo, like, man, that's literally objectively incorrect. Like, it'd be like me saying I didn't like Endgame because Thanos killed Captain America and then twerked on his grave. It's like, bro, that didn't happen. Like, therefore your critique is invalid. Now, what this also shows is that it basically doesn't change the opinion that the person is having. MAHISTV obviously dislikes Black Clover. I just don't think that they did a good job at conveying why, when I would say the vast majority of their critiques were invalid. Like, he thinks that Yami was, like, purposely holding back in the Siba Temple and not breaking out. He was like, he thought that Yami had the spell the entire time. Like, there's so many out-of-pocket things that is stated. Now, I do want to say, do not send any hate to MAHISTV. So don't go to his video and press dislike, and don't go to his video and comment and say he sucks. Because honestly, I thought like in terms of editing quality, I thought it was a good video. But in terms of the content, it is bad. But Ostradasta, $10. Appreciate that. I love Black Clover hate. I work after these videos. Right? Yeah. Yeah. I think that I'm gonna get started here in a sec. I'm just gonna update the thing. But yeah, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. But yeah, we'll get into it now. Yeah, for some reason, YouTube chat not working with OBS, so I can't get comments on stream. So this has happened before, and then just the next time I tried to stream it worked. So hopefully the YouTube chat will have that there. Like next time I stream. But all right, so this is a 27-minute video, so this is probably going to be the whole stream. It's probably going to take at least an hour to go over it, even though I'm putting on 1.25 speed. But let's just get right into it, guys. Oh, I forgot. I need to pull up my phone, actually, so I can have chat and this. Because now I won't be able to look at OBS. Let's see. Well, somebody did like a win-loss record, Joe High, for characters in Black Clover. Oh, yeah, what's up, Surfbone? And Austin, I think it said he had 28 wins and 16 losses. So he had a good record, but he has a lot of losses too. Oh, that's not it. Alright, now I got chat up so I can see what you guys are saying. But yeah, thanks for everybody coming in so far. But yeah, let's just get into it. It's gonna be a long video. Let me know if you can hear his audio, okay?
I hate Black Clover with a fiery passion. There has never been a show that made me not angry, sad with how bad it is, and believe it or not, it has nothing to do with Asta speaking in caps lock, a rocky start, or 50 shades of everyone's face. I'm talking about the fundamental systems, stolen ideas, entire scene sequences that can be thrown away without affecting the result. Hell, go see the #1 reason why before you click off. I'll even give you the timestamps to make it easy. Hello comrade, my name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me. We got a long-awaited explanation incoming. Let me set the stage and tell you about my experience with this show. First time I watched it, I barely made it to episode 6 and stopped there. But then I thought to myself, it's a shonen.
So basically, I will be like pausing and adding my own commentary when I disagree. There are a lot of things I disagree with. Like, so that's why I'm going to be reacting like the whole video, because it's like almost every part of the video I disagree with.
A big shonen, and I gave Black Clover a very fair second chance. 50 episodes, that's 5 arcs, which is about...
So, I'm actually going to agree. Like, there is this mindset that people have that you have to have an entire view of a show, or like at the very least cover like its first part, which I think it's fair either way. Like, he is reviewing the first 50 episodes, but, and this is an important but, he contradicts himself later in the video and talks about later points of the series anyways, which undercuts a lot of the critique, because like, you can't say you're only critiquing 50 episodes and then you're lobbing these critiques at later parts of the series where obviously you're like, you don't know you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what's going on. And you can see that because he lobs a critique at the like towards the end of the L Saga, and like, it's like, bro, like, why are you critiquing it if you just admitted you haven't watched it? That makes zero sense. So there are critiques where he throws out there, like, for example, he says he's only critiquing 50 episodes, but then he talks about episode 63, which is Black Asta. Then he brings up things about the Elf Saga. So, but yeah, but either way, like, I think you don't have to watch an entire series to give her a critique, as long as you are only critiquing that aspect of it. So the fact that he does talk about later parts at some points, I think does discredit a lot of his opinion. But one thing I will say is that I would also agree that like the beginning of Black Clover is probably the worst, but I still think it's good, like definitely good enough to stick in. But it's definitely unfortunate that he didn't give it a bigger shot. 'Cause I think if you watch the original 170 episodes of the anime, that he would like it better. But I don't know. It's hard to say based off what he talks about, because there's a lot of things that he just gets wrong in this. So it's like, is episode 170 gonna hit if he doesn't really know what's going on? But we'll get into it.
About 13 hours if you trim all the openings / recaps. And in case you were thinking I just skimmed through it, no, I was paying attention and tried.
So, again, no hate to this guy, full respect here, but it doesn't, like, we'll get into it, but it does not seem like you actually paid attention
to get invested into the story, the world, the characters. I did to a degree. Yeah, Asta was annoying, but he is good people. Sure, the plot is a bit generic, but he is good people. The magic system seems a bit cheesy, but you guessed it, it's still good people. However, very quickly, I've noticed that I'm being lied to. Something doesn't quite compute here. Take Luck, for example. He was introduced as this energetic dude, always ready to throw down, who had the nickname Smiling Battle Maniac for reasons of loving to go solo and winning fights. Well, about that, not only did he flop the very first battle we saw him in, he hasn't done anything significant.
That's actually not true, because this is really weird, because what happens is for one, he's kind of misconstruing what Luck is shown and like described to be. When we see Luck, yes, he's a battle fiend, and he loves to fight, but loving to fight doesn't mean he should win every fight. And then also, for 2, Luck is portrayed to be this goon at mana sensing. And he shows that in this arc, when they go to the dungeon, because his mana sensing is what gets him through. So I do think that the promise and what's built up to be about Luck is honored. I don't think he has to win every fight. And no, he was also a goon against Lotus. like, there's a point in that fight where Lotus is struggling with Luck, but Luck also, like, has this moment where Luck is getting nerfed by Lotus's smoke, but even though he's getting nerfed, Luck is still getting stronger. And also, the weird thing is, Lotus is an adjutant general. An adjutant general is the equivalent of a vice captain if you're to compare the ranking systems. I did not say Luck is a gooner. I don't even know what gooning is, bro. I see people talking about it on TikTok. But yeah, so, like, Luck does well against a vice captain equivalent, even though he is not near that rank. Just because he loves to fight doesn't mean he has to beat and immediately destroy a character who is vice captain equivalent. Like, that's just such a weird complaint to me, and I don't think it's correct to say that it's lied about. Especially when, before Lotus shows up, Luck just, like, wiped out a squad of diamond mages. Like, what are we doing here? Like, Luck literally solo wipes a diamond squad. Now, I'm not talking like a squad equivalent of, like, you know, Black Bulls or whatever. But it's just like, my guy, these are like it's a whole, like, group of soldiers he just solos. But see, I definitely just heavily disagree with that critique. Luck was, I think, perfectly portrayed what he was. He likes to fight. He loved to fight. And he held his own and fought well against a diamond vice captain and an adjutant general. So, I'm not even going to read that. Jesus Christ. That is wild. Why did I'm not using that word again. Oh, they got a super chat. Sorry, Upsilon, for missing that. Thank you so much. Is that 10 euros? Appreciate that. I want more Black Clover x Warhammer 40k videos. Well, I will say, Upsilon, there's a decent possibility for that. I heard that the Horus Heresy is officially done in, like, book format. Like, they finished that off. And so now I might actually just go read all of those books now that I know that they're not going to be releasing, like, 4 per year. And I'm going to have, like, 100 books to read. I'm going to just change the fund real quick. Thank you guys so much. We're already close to the goal. I really appreciate that. And we'll get back to the scheduled programming. But yeah, so I don't think this critique's valid. Basically, Luck did well against Lotus. A basically, let's just call him a vice captain, because that's what he is. And he did well. He fought well. Wiped out a squad by himself. While this crazy-ass dungeon was freaking the fuck out of Austin Noel, Luck was reveling in the chaos. Like, I think this perfectly, like, just portrayed the character that Luck was built up to be. So, oh dang, I just realized I'm not sharing. But yeah, so totally disagree with that. We'll continue.
Significant in the next several fights, with the exception of one Fish Priest who he defeated off fucking screen. Come on, man. If you hype up a character like that, the least you can do is show a decisive W for once. Against Lotus, Asta did all the heavy lifting. The other priest was given...
That was a team effort breakdown of defeating Lotus. To put all of it on Asta when they kind of just did a plan around it. Yeah, I agree that, you know, Asta was a big part of it, but to try and discredit Luck entirely, I don't think it's a good critique.
Given a dose of despair, and the grumpy orange Hank himself suffered no damage at all from Lux and Magna's duel. Where is this smiling battle maniac? I heard...
So he was already shown, like, going through this crazy-ass dungeon where space is warped, traps are everywhere, and he's excited about it. Then he goes through, uses his insane mana sensing, wipes out a diamond squad, and then he fights an enemy vice captain and holds his own. So I think that that was shown pretty well. Yeah, Lotus is a character who survived a fight with Yami. And I think that I don't remember his nickname, but they give him a nickname when he's there. So it's like, we know this is, like, gonna be a pretty strong character because he has, like, a moniker. So yeah, it's just super weird. And as for, like, saying that, like, the fight against Veto was pointless and it didn't really show Luck was doing well. That's another weird complaint, because for one, Veto is a character who's captain level. Like, just blatantly captain level. And in that fight, Luck is adapting to Veto's movements and power. Which is just crazy, because remember, Luck, sure, he's a battle maniac. But he's not supposed to be this captain level fighter. And he's fighting a captain level fighter. And holds his own. And he says that, he didn't damage Veto. Well, remember, Veto's goal here, like his main goal, is to steal the Magic Stone. So, what Luck and Magna did here is they did slow Veto down and stop him. So that when Asta came and Kyoto came, basically, his goal was to stop Veto and slow him down, and he did. But yeah, I think that's a really weird critique, because Luck is, I think he's like I said, he's definitely portrayed to be what he's built up to be be this vice captain or captain level killer or defeater. It's really weird that to get that interpretation of Luck when that's not really what's built up. Veto does literally compliment Luck. He's like, he says it when he's like talking about his adaptation in battle, that he's like, wow, you already adapted to that speed. Like, yeah, like Luck is getting complimented on by a captain level fighter. Like I said, this critique for me is unfounded and therefore invalid. Now this, like, remember, he can still dislike Luck and how he's portrayed, but the way he worded it, I don't agree with it at all.
Heard so much about. In approximately the same area as a bunch of scenes that are redundant or have no impact whatsoever. We all know of the legend of the same area as a bunch of scenes duo.
Sorry, I missed
Where
that.
is this smiling battle maniac I heard so much about? In approximately the same area as a bunch of scenes that are redundant or have no impact whatsoever. We all know of the legend of the first Wizard King. That's fine. What if we imbeciles forget about that irrelevant piece of lore and can't put it together when something new is revealed? I mean, two things. Constant reinforcement of character archetypes or plot points in entire sequences that mean nothing.
Yami pretends to be stuck. This guy thinks that Yami was pretending to be stuck. That is I don't know how you can be experiencing the Seabed Temple arc and thinking that Yami was pretending to be stuck the entire time. That's not what happened. What happened is Eye of the Midnight Sun mage trapped them in spatial magic in a completely different dimension. And Yami could not break through it. And what happened was, and I think that, like, he mentions this later, because I think he does say that Yami's Dimension Slash is an asshole. I could be wrong, because I've seen this video once, but what happens is that Yami had a limit break stored up in the previous arc. When he's fighting the Third Eye by himself, he almost broke his limits, and then the captains came. So Yami has this limit break already stored up, which is foreshadowing that the next time he fights a strong opponent, he's gonna have a limit break. And then that's what happens here. He couldn't just cut through this. What happened was he had a limit break stored up, and then number two, Yami already had spatial manipulation abilities. He could create black holes. And then three, his squad mates are in a massive threat. And then he finally, the limit break's activated. He needed a spell to break through dimension. He breaks through dimension. He did not pretend to be stuck. Oh. Like, this is what I'm talking about.
Nothing. I hate when I'm treated like a 4-year-old who has to be reminded that Noel's royalty every other sentence.
So you hate to be treated like a 4-year-old, having to be constantly reminded about Noelle being a royal, when that's part of her characterization. But then when it comes to other things, you think that Yami was pretending to be stuck that entire fight.
That she speaks, that RMC wants to marry Sister Lily, or that you all need some despair, hate, whatever in your life. Seriously, if I was to take a half shot every time I hear a character mentioning their gimmick, I'd be fucking dead, and that's coming from a Russian. No one in the target audience, 10 plus usually, needs to be reminded this much, as it flattens the character to the point where they just associate with one single word.
And this is the issue with a lot of things, right? Is people will say that, oh, it's too repetitive. Stop saying it. Stop saying it. And then when something isn't repeatedly stated, they will just blatantly miss it. Like this guy thinking that Yami was stuck and pretending to be stuck. Not that he was just stuck because he was stuck.
And seem to have nothing else going on. Same thing with a lot of scenes in the show where people either do nothing and watch things happen, or they're
Asta gets abducted in front of several captains.
on. Same thing with a lot of scenes in the show where people either do nothing
I don't even
and watch
get
things
like what he's trying to point out
happen, or their actions have no impact on the outcome of the situation. Let's look at the Despair guy, since I've mentioned him.
I don't know why. And, oh, the electrician. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. 1 month. Repetitive gags, yeah. But I don't mind it, but yeah. Like I said, he does have some valid criticisms. I just disagree with most. Let me see. I actually want to pull up. I can't remember exactly. Wasn't it Nozel and Charlotte that were the captains that were present when Asta gets abducted? So, like, I don't get his critique of, like, the several captains were there when he got abducted. Because they use spatial magic. Like, I don't know.
Who won that fight? Black Bulls, obviously. But who really contributed to Veto's defeat? Here's the breakdown of the fight. Mr. Smiles engages Luck and Magna. They pretend to have a main character moment, but fail miserably, after which Asta comes in to save the day as usual. Backed by his new dancing buddy, they try to show the villain some moves, only to be dicked on to and needing to be saved by another duo, Kahano and Noel. You'd think that something will change, but no, their cheeks are clapped just as hard, if not harder than the others. Granted, Her Royal Majesty also attempted the Fable main character moment and at least got this boss to its second phase, so props to her, I guess. Next, Asta realizes that too many people have tried to claim his role in the show and jumps in to protect his teammate moments after laying motionless on the floor. He delivers a motivational speech inspiring his allies, so another duo jumps into the fray. Blah blah blah, 3 more people, they distract, the show remembers that Asta is wielding a fucking sword, not a club, and with a bit of early celebration, a true main character has a moment, followed by Veto's quick defeat. But it's not over, since he's about to yell Licht is great and turn the Seabed Temple into just Seabed. So, Yami, who was previously stuck with no way out, pushes past his limits and saves the day, this time for good. What the fuck? You mean to tell me that he had it in him this whole time?
Yes, if you paid attention. If you paid attention, you would know this. Oh my god. We already went over. So, like, this is, like, why is he saying that Yami pretended to be stuck? But now he's saying he had it in him his whole time, and okay, let's see him wrap up his point.
This show just basically took all the stakes it had set up and threw them out the window, upsetting not only Guga, but me too. Okay. In order to go plus ultra, you're required to feel some type of way. So, they all needed to lose in order for the captain to go beyond. Yet that would have been the same if they all just dropped without all this extracurricular action. If I somehow, going through some mental gymnastics that would make Inosuke proud, can't justify everyone's involvement, Lux and Magna's section, which is about 13 minutes of screen time, can be just cut from the show without any...
I don't think that can be cut from the show. Like, I would say that it's not incredibly important, but I don't think it needs to be cut, because they did slow down
losses at all. It won't affect...
But anyways, let's go back to the point, right? Like, let's even just disregard that getting these spells is part of the power system, right? But Yami, in the previous arc, he's fighting the third eye, and he almost gets a limit break, but the captains arrive. So he has, like, he's like, oh, I almost have this limit break, right? He already has the ability to warp space. He creates black holes. So it's like, well, what would be a great way to break out of dimension? Oh, a limit break that instead of just creating a hole in space, I cut through space. Like, this is not that crazy. So it's, and also, like, I don't know. Does he think that Tabata, or does he think that Yami had the entire time or not. Because that, it's kind of going both ways there.
The fight whatsoever. Maybe that was the point, to show that this is indeed a mighty foe that will push our squad to the limit, but we already know that. This guy was posing a challenge even for captains in the last arc, so all it did was further prove that these two aren't shit in the grand scheme of things and that the victory is achieved by some ass-pull bullshit. Yes, the whole power system is built on plot convenient power.
So, I think this is a okay critique, right? Like, oh, it's already stated that this character is that strong. But, and this is where it kind of gets into more subjective territory. This is show versus tell. A lot of people will say show, don't tell when it comes to writing. If you just basically only state that a character is strong, and we don't get to see why they are strong, then it's just not as impactful. So we get to see Veto going through. What do we see? We see before this, Veto squad wipes 50 Magic Knights. Before, like, they were on the beach going to the Seabed Temple. Then he shows up, and then he fights a bunch of the Black Bulls. Like, he fights Luck and Magna team up. Luck and Magna, two of the like more notorious Black Bulls, do a combo spell that is nothing to Veto. Then it's Asta and Kyoto. You have anti-magic, and then you have one of the stronger mages from this territory teaming up. They are nothing. And then it's Kyoto, or no, then it's Noelle and Kahona. And then it's Kyoto and Kahona. And then it's Noelle breaking her limits, building up her power and her growth. Because that's been her arc throughout the series, is her learning to develop her vast power. And then showing that it still wasn't enough. And then it's Asta and Asta, Finral, and Vanessa as the main three after that. And it was amazing. Like, it was Asta, his anti-magic being aided by Vanessa's threads and Finral's space to pull him out of harm's way, put him into advantageous positions. And they defeat Veto. But then Veto has another ability. And it's just showing that, yes, like, Veto is just this strong. And like I said, like, yes, you can dislike it. I think it's perfectly fair to be like, oh, well, it's already stated that he's like this strong. But I don't like, would we really just want to see, like, he's basically he's almost asking if, why didn't we just skip Veto versus all the Black Bulls if Yami was going to be the victor? Which I think that's kind of lame. Do we really want to skip all of the fights just to get to Yami versus Veto? I don't know. Imagine if Aizen's only feat in Bleach was losing to Ichigo, and he never clapped the Gote 13. Yeah, exactly. And like, and that's the thing too, is, you know, we were like, this is early in the series, we're starting to like the Black Bulls, and so if you know, this early in, it's building up, like, and Tabata's kind of testing how much you like the Black Bulls, and the emotion you feel seeing Veto just throttle them. But like I said, this is more of a subjective one. Like, he gets other things that are like objectively wrong, but like, I don't know. I think that you'd have to be like consistent. And I bet there's so many other series where the big bad guy did not need to fight a bunch of the weaker characters, but it sure does well at building up the tension and the stakes and seeing the development in those characters. And like are we not going to argue that like Asta, Finral, and Vanessa versus Veto was amazing? And also, what so this is like what happens. Like, this is how Tabata built this into the next arc. You have Asta, Finral, and Vanessa needing to break their limits to barely beat Veto. And then the next arc, Fauna, who's stronger than Veto, they defeat her base form even easier, and then they fight her third eye form. And it's like basically showing that, oh, okay, well, Asta, Finral, and Vanessa, using a very similar combat method to the previous arc, are doing just as good, if not better, against a stronger opponent. So, like, that is how you can show that characters are progressing. Because in this guy's scenario, he wanted all those fights to be skipped to Yami versus Veto. Or I guess at the very least, Asta, Finral, Vanessa versus Veto. But then we don't get that progression. Then we have to be like, oh, well, this character just got stronger. But we don't get to really see how much.
Power-ups, and the main reason for why I dislike it, it invalidates hard work and training as a whole. You can say, Mahis, you dimwit, if Noelle didn't practice her waterbending, she would have never unlocked this spell in her book. Let me draw a parallel that even people from Freedom Land can understand. If you're experienced with AR-15 and suddenly need to go against an armored target, AP rounds don't magically appear in your magazine regardless of how dire the situation is. You need to bring them to use them. And what characters in Black Clover do is carry a bunch of locked spells in their grimoire that need to be purchased with their desire to persevere when the plot demands it, like a bunch of DLCs. Which, on the side note, is even worse, because if you roll the grimoire with only one page, no amount of
I don't think that's a good analogy, but
character development will help you. Look at some other shonens. Sure, they do have moments like that, because it's cool for fuck's sake. But Naruto had to grind like a motherfucker to get Rasengan and to upgrade it into Rasen Shuriken. Not only did it not work the first time, he had to spend even more time making it safe to use. Here, some ungodly time-stopping power, perfect for the occasion, the user, and the exact location of the event, yeah, no problem, not even a downside to it. How am I supposed to feel?
he can't even... Oh my god. Okay.
Feel any danger for our squad if at any point somebody can discover a spell that will save the day. Yami, my favorite character in the show, was quite unsure of how to deal with Patoli's AoE attack just a dozen episodes ago, and now he can suddenly slash dimensions in half several times in a row with very little effort.
Oh, it's almost like... Okay, let's replay exactly what he said.
Episodes ago, and now he can suddenly slash dimensions in half several times in a row with very little effort. There is simply...
Wait, he can... My guy... It's because he had a limit break stored up and got a new ability. And going back to the point, like, this is like, I remember this was like one of the oldest complaints in the book for Black Clover going to the dungeon. Well, Asta conveniently got a sword and Yuno conveniently got a power-up. My guy, if you went and saw what Yami said what happens when you go to dungeons, he literally says you find very powerful items or ultimate magic. And what does Yuno find? Ultimate magic. Now, I'm not saying like ultimate as in like the title ultimate magic in Black Clover. It just meant like very powerful. It wasn't like the actual ultimate magic that we know. And then Asta gets a sword. But like that's the point of going to a dungeon, to get these things. And then they get these things and then all of a sudden it's convenient. Especially because for Asta, right? He gets this Demon Dweller sword. But he still loses. And ultimately it is Yuno's Sylph, or Bell, the wind spirit, that basically just, like, sure, it won the day, but it's not something he just can't, like, he can't control it. Like, he had to develop Bell, and then the next arc, he had to go an entire fight against Catherine the Witch, and he only was able to develop Bell's power because Catherine messed with Yuno's senses. And then because Yuno's senses were messed with, he could only focus on mana sensing to then develop Bell's power. So like there is these build-up moments in training in Black Clover.
No satisfaction here, and it's only half the problem, because to my knowledge, Asta hasn't lost a single fight. Like,
oh god. And then, okay. This is bad, right?
Satisfaction here, and it's only half the problem, because to my knowledge, Asta hasn't lost a single fight. Like, legit. Every time there is some assist...
Asta hasn't lost a single fight, like, legit. So he doubles down on it, saying he's legit, but then he corrects himself and says he lost to Licht. My guy! I thought you were critiquing the 50 episodes of Black Clover. But also, if you're saying that Asta's lost, and you're just now saying, oh, well, he lost to Licht, you're implying that's his only loss. Like, no, he lost to so many characters, not only after Licht, but before Licht. Asta has so many L's. Like, this is, man. Asta likes 5 so far. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, he did lose to Veto. He lost to Veto. And then he needed help to still lose to Veto. Because technically, if we're going to be technical, he didn't actually beat Veto. Yami did. Yeah, exactly, Ronnie. Gets one-tapped by by Marileona as Black form. Yeah, he literally, like, this is weird, right? He shows when Asta got kidnapped. Like, he didn't win. Like, sure, a lot of Asta's greatest L's are later in the series. But he still took L's. And this is like, actually, let's let him finish his point, because I want to make sure this is what, like, the root of his critique is.
Problem, because to my knowledge, Asta hasn't lost a single fight. Like, legit. Every time there is some assistance, pushing past his limits, or flat out divine intervention. Think about it. This newbie schmuck who just joined the ranks...
Divine intervention? What is the divine intervention? What?
His limits, or flat out divine intervention. Think about it. This newbie schmuck who just joined the ranks and went on a single quest, who is wielding some weird sword that goes bonk, and who has no experience nor knowledge about how to traverse hostile magical terrain, is sent to investigate a new dungeon on a border of an enemy kingdom. I'm sure Julius knows what he's doing, but on top of all this, Asta was a literal key to the magic door that held a huge upgrade for Yuno, and the second out of 3 anti-magic swords that was located behind a damn wall. Again, I have nothing against the...
So, this is... Why is it, like, bad to have Asta's ability as the main character to be convenient for things in the series? Like, why is that a bad thing? And, like, sure, his anti-magic was important, but it's overvaluing it. Yeah, Flam, he does try and say that Black Clover commits plagiarism, which is hilarious. Well, that is in the video. But I had a different point I was thinking of. Oh, so he's calling Asta some newbie schmuck who did one squad or one mission, and now he's going to do this other mission. But, like, for one, what is, like, narratively wrong with that? And is this even correct? Like, sure, Asta is new to the Magic Knights, but Asta is not a schmuck. How in the fuck do you think he's a schmuck? Like, I don't get that. Because in the Magic Knights entrance exam, Seke was viewed as a actual good candidate. But it's because Seke got bodied by Asta that his stocks dropped. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but Seke's bronze defensive spell, that was seen as an impressive spell. And Asta blitzes Seke, and Asta is so fast that William thinks he's using not a movement spell. He thinks he's using a high speed movement spell. Like, what? How is he a schmuck? But a $5 super chat, appreciate that. What'd you say? It's only Divine Infinite Black Clover does it, even if foreshadowed. But hard work and growth for characters like Naruto. Pretty much. The episodes where he gets Julius's money back. Yeah. Clam down. Oh, you think I'm actually mad? If you're talking to me, no, I'm chill. But yeah, and yeah, exactly. You are we're forgetting here why Asta was on this mission, because Julius was being sneaky, and he saw that Asta had anti-magic, Remember when he's pretending to be that old lady? And then remember, like Asta is special requested to go on this mission. Like, it's like, this is literally Asta's special request to be on this mission. Black Clover's amazing. Agree. What is that thumbnail? That's his thumbnail I put on the TV. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Asta is not a schmuck. Asta, like, does that mean Yuno's a schmuck? Because remember, Asta spent his entire life training with Yuno. Yuno was throwing tornadoes at him, and Asta was running through them. Asta was doing push-ups and sit-ups inside of a grand magic region. Like, because remember, the demon skeleton is in the border. It's not in Hajj. It's outside the border. It's in the grand magic region, which means that Asta is doing those 1,000 one-arm handstand push-ups in a grand magic region. He complains Asta's a schmuck, but complains... Or he claims Asta's a schmuck, but complains that he doesn't lose. Yeah, it's almost like a circular argument. Like, you're saying that Asta's a schmuck, and because he's a schmuck, he should not win every time. When, for one, he doesn't win every time, but for two, him winning every time debunks the idea that he's a schmuck. He's not a schmuck. In fact, remember, Episode 1, Chapter 1... Once Asta got his confidence back, he thought he could beat Reggie with no anti-magic. That was before he got the Grimoire. So, Asta can arguably be Magic Knight level pre-training 6 months without an anti-magic sword. So, give him the anti-magic sword, give him some training. And then I know, like, he didn't get past episode 50, even though he'll lob critiques at other parts. But it is shown that Asta trained with a military commander during those 6 months. So this is not a schmuck. Like, Asta is fighting enemy squads, like Diamond Mages, in that between chapters 1 and 2, because that's the light novel that was adapted into the anime. Like, Asta's not a schmuck. Like, I don't get, like, the argument. But, I do want to say, MAHISTV is the guy who made this video. Some people, I think in the comments, are being a little too mean. Actually, honestly, he sounds like a cool dude. Like, that's that. I just disagree with his critique, that's it. Like, some people calling him bad words, please don't do that. I just think he's wrong. And I think he is hilariously wrong. That doesn't make him stupid. That doesn't make him a bad person. And I do think that the actual video is well edited. He's actually a funny guy. He's charismatic. So I just want to say that please do not send hate to this guy. This is just anime. But let's get back to it.
The right place at the right time trope, since it's a good way to set up interesting plot points and character progression. But when the whole show is based on that, it defeats the purpose of said progression. How would you feel if Ichigo just randomly popped his Bankai in the middle of the battle without any prior training? Everybody would have lost their mind, cause even the 3-day express...
So, again, this is not what happened in Black Clover. If you're referring to Yami's Dimension Slash, which I think he still might be, I don't know, I was paused for a bit. No, that was built up. He had a limit break in line. He had the limit break. He already has abilities that warp space-time. So, it's not that crazy. He got a sword slash that can cut through it.
Course was already pushing the Aspool boundaries. Give me something specific to look for so there can be a satisfying payoff when it happens. Look at what Demon Slayer did recently. Tanjiro was in a pinch, couldn't perform his usual routine, and decided to give thunder breathing a shot. It's a totally awesome concept, where you can think of it as a natural progression of Slayer's training. Master one style, then Uncle Iroh the rest. Yet, with no prior build-up or any indication that it's something commonly done, it came out as another Tanjiro Merisu moment, and viewers were rightfully pissed about it. Speaking of Merisu, I've already mentioned Asta not losing a single fight, but did you notice that he...
Oh, wait? I think
Speaking
I missed this
of
first
Merisu,
time.
I've already mentioned...
This doesn't count since villain used the power of friendship. What? He's just blatantly not accepting this loss because the villains used power of friendship? That completely invalidates everything else about this point. What? I missed this the first time I watched it. Oh shoot! Sorry guys. My bad. I gotta put this back on. Hopefully you guys could hear that. But now you can see it. Sorry. He says this doesn't count since villains use the power of friendship when Asta and Leopold lose. No, it certainly counts. How does this not count? What the heck, man? That's funny. That's funny. Maybe this is just a joke. But if it's not, I mean, it's hard because he's putting that's a correction symbol. The star, that's a correction. This doesn't count since villains use the power of friendship. No, it certainly counts.
Asta not losing a single fight, but did you notice that he is literally a plug for every hole? Anywhere he goes, he's a perfect solution for whatever problem. Granted, his power is quite unique, and in the world where everything is magical in some capacity, it makes sense that an ability to cancel it would be rather useful. However, do we really need him to have an answer for every single struggle? He stopped Noel's attempt to flood the area, avenged Magna's friend, did all the dungeon things we discussed, bonked the memory-altering magic out of the
Wait, him avenging Magna's friend? I don't even think that was really having anything to do
flood the area, avenged Magna
with actual, like, hit the anti-magic power. Like, sure, it helps, but this is more Asta's just strength and power and teamwork.
Friend did all the dungeon things we discussed, bonked the memory-altering magic out of the captives, did the same to the poor kids, accidentally unsealed Patoli's magic stash, penetrated the water barrier. The list goes on, and it seems like the only people who ever do something important are Asta, Yuno, and those captain level or above.
So, like, I think this is something that you can dislike, right? But I think it's a good way to have the main character be important to the plot and be consistently important to the plot without making him automatically the strongest character. Like, he has an ability that's unique because it can nullify things. And so, like, when it comes to non-combat things, like nullifying the memory magic and shit like that, that's a perfect way to keep Asta, like important to the series. And important to, like, higher-ups in the series. And so, like, I get, like, the critique, but to me, it falls flat. But I had something else I was gonna say and I forgot because I started reading chat. What is it? I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me, but we'll keep watching.
What's the point of developing all these characters? Quite decently, I may add. So that they help during some encounters? I always felt like none of the good guys are moving the plot forward except for
one of the things I was gonna say is that I think he said that it only seems like Asta and Julius and other captain level characters are, like, doing important things like that. I don't think that's exactly what he said, but that would still be a fair amount of characters doing that. And I still think that actually isn't completely correct, but I think he does have a good point. But when we're talking about it only being 50 episodes in, that is still stating that there is a multitude of characters who are doing important things. But I overall, not a bad point.
The MC, of course. Yet, at the same time, nobody's acknowledging how abnormal this guy is, not trying to investigate his abilities. Dude has a 5-leaf Clover grimoire, something has never happened from what these people understand, and he wields anti-magic while being magicless himself. What the fuck are you all doing? There is a literal miracle walking around, and not even the dude who examined his floating book does anything about it. Oh.
Yes, because it's too dirty, they can't tell that there's a 5-leaf Clover on it. They just think it's a raggedy, dirty old grimoire this magicless peasant got. So that's why nobody, like, pays it, like, that mind. But people do think that he's crazy. But that's the like, this is, like, the point of Black Clover. Exactly, you guys saying nobody knows. Yeah, people don't know that he has a 5-leaf Clover grimoire. Now, I think it's adapted differently in the manga. The narrator just shows a little bubble that says he doesn't see it's a 5-leaf Clover grimoire because it's dirty. In the anime, you have that guy inspecting it, but it's too dirty to see. They don't know it's a 5-leaf Clover grimoire. And we have to think about it logically. Like, to most people, they would think that Asta has little magic, not no magic. Because remember, when in the first episode, Rebchi doesn't confirm that Asta has no magic until the chains touch him. Which in this context, people would just see Asta as he has so low magic, we can't feel it. I'm talking about most people here. Most people on Black Clover. He has so low magic that people cannot feel it. And then they would think, oh, well, he has this dirty old grimoire. It's just going to be a 3-leaf clover, right? That's what they're going to think. But and for one, let's say that's the wrong interpretation that people know. It would still be, and this is harken on later points in the series, that it doesn't matter because Asta's a peasant. Asta saved the entire world. Okay, so we'll take a step back. Asta saved the entire kingdom, possibly the world, probably not, because other characters could have stopped him, probably, from Zagrid. But because he's a peasant and using devil powers, it doesn't matter that he's a good guy. He doesn't get admiration for defeating the word devil, because he lives in a very classist society. And this has happened in real life, where you have people in real life who have done amazing things, but then they were ridiculed. Like, I think there's this really good movie. I think it's called The Imitation Game. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. And, like, this dude helped the Allies win World War II, but was shat on for being gay. Like, back then, like, being gay was perceived as very, very, out of pocket. So, just because you're doing great things doesn't mean anything, or will mean a lot less in a classist society. We saw this when Asta defeated Zagrid, and he was literally going to be put to death. We saw this when Asta saved the entire world from the King of Devils, and it took 15 months to get him acquitted.
I don't know, let people in the capital look at it. Are you shitting me? That's akin to Einstein holding an antimatter container and passing it to someone else because he has no idea what it is. It won't happen. Every scholar worth their salt would line up just to get a chance.
But similar things have happened in real life. As I just said, you have that code breaker does amazing things, but heavily ridiculed just because he was gay. And we're talking about an even more classist society in the Clover Kingdom.
To see a 5-leaf clover. How come Sally is the only one to do so? Sure, maybe they don't see the clover itself because it's so dirty, but anti-magic? In a world where everything is all about...
That just invalidates the last, few points that you were saying that, yes, you just admitted that nobody knows it's a 5-leaf clover grimoire, then why did you keep that in the video? Oh, man.
Magic, you definitely want to investigate such a phenomenon. Oh, and about that, we see...
And Julius did that.
People using mana left, right, and center, but as soon as something happens, only the Magic Knights are taking part in the action. Where are the regular guards with at least a fireball or something?
Yeah, man, when Russia invades the United States, I'm gonna grab my machete and start just running towards the tank, bro. That's what I'm gonna do. I understand, trying to fight, but you have to remember that the gap between actual powerful characters in Black Clover and average citizens is probably going to be bigger than the gap between my machete and that T-34 tank rolling down the street. And I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's points in the series where people do this. Even Nash does this. Sister Teresa did this, where she is just really a regular old civilian, fighting back. But, man, this is, in my opinion, a weird point to hate Black Clover for. Because this, most citizens don't fight back when an invading force comes. Most are not. And that's talking of, where the gaps between like of force multipliers is arguably less.
Oh, you mean to tell me that if you can light up a stove, you can't do that to a zombie? Seriously, during the assault of the royal capital, this...
But it's weird to assume that a fire that can cook a dead boar is going to kill a magically amplified zombie. Because this is shown in the show and the manga that Roddy's isn't just, making zombies. He is amping the zombies with magic power.
City where magic is everything, people weren't even trying to use magic when shit hit the fan. I'm not expecting them to solo all the villains, but if some peasant kids can do this, the adults should be able to at least slow down, barricade, or otherwise impair these shambling sacks of necromancy. Does the show forget its own rules? This ain't fairy tale, everyone is able to use magic. Piss off enough people, and the sheer quantity of spells you'll have to deal with will be quite troublesome.
Isn't this Overlord?
And don't give me this crap about they're scared, they're not prepared, and so on. These are superhumans who have tools at the tip of their fingers that...
Yes, but they are superhumans, but the people attacking are superhumans. Like if you get into like Black Clover power scaling, they are way stronger. Like the gap is huge. Like the gap between villains in Black Clover and civilians is bigger than me grabbing my 22 rifle going against a squad of dudes with AK-47s. But like I don't know. I don't think it's like it's not realistic. Yes, in our real world citizens can fight back, but the vast majority of them do not. They leave it up to the people that are meant to do that.
We can only dream of, which they have used their entire life. So, instead of fight or flight response, they will have magic fight or magic flight, which is rather interesting because I don't see anyone using magic to escape either. Again.
Yeah, but see, like, for one, magic is often invisible when it's like in Black Clover. Like, how many times in Black Clover are characters using reinforcement magic? But we don't actually see it. It's just like they're just like a completely normal character. Magic is normally portrayed to be invisible.
Something just doesn't add up. Now, it's time to quickly mention the production value of the anime. Manga is fine, I've read it a bit, and this section barely applies to it. Nevertheless, visuals are an essential part of viewing experience, and we can't completely ignore them. In the beginning, I've said that I will not talk about characters sometimes being drawn like they belong in Mob Psycho, so...
Look at this superhuman hoeing a field. Bro, that made me laugh so fucking hard. Like, yeah, he's actually not even doing anything that crazy. And then, like, the example of, like, heating up a boar, like a dead boar. Like, bro, I'm gonna go grab my kitchen oven. I'm just gonna go throw it at this Russian T-34 tank scrolling down my neighborhood. That'll get him.
I won't. Instead, we shall tackle this show's animation as a whole. It's a clusterfuck. I'm sorry if you're saying that this anime is drawn well, you need to check your eyes. I'm seriously concerned about their health, because it's borderline impressive how inconsistent and ugly this show looks. And don't you put your hands on the keyboard yet, since you probably don't realize one thing. Black Clover is one of the most expensive animes on the planet, with the lowest cost per episode I can find being $100,000 and the average cost looking to be about $140K. This over here was made with an average budget, which is about 80 grand an episode. I understand that these...
So, I'm gonna say that, yes, Black Clover is actually one of the most expensive anime of all time, but that just shows how fucked the production was, that you had this much money, and how poorly the resources were allocated. Because, man, yeah, that, like, so many other anime look better with less money. Like, but, like, and I get it, that is valid. Like, I do agree. Like, I think that this is, like, the actual part of his video that is very valid. That, yes, the quality of the anime is a little suspect. However, though what he will use to blame it on, he'll blame it on the animators and not the people in charge. He also have Red Cloak. If you want to join in, let me know. Money isn't exactly money. Yeah, like let's think about how many times with these massive blockbuster video games or movies, and they look like garbage because money is not everything.
Numbers don't represent the whole picture. There are many other things that go into making an anime: staffing, script writing, voice acting, etc, etc. But, as much as I don't want to say it, in this particular case, it feels like whoever animated all this had no love for the show at all. I'm partial.
Yeah, that's complete bullshit. Like, I understand wanting to think that, or just thinking that from the outside in, but to think that... What did he exactly say?
Case, it feels like whoever animated all this had no love for the show at all.
Oh, that's just... had no love for the show. Doesn't, like, obviously he doesn't know that the anime, the people in charge handled it so poorly that Yoshihara, the director of the anime, had to do I think it was in between frames, which is not even part of his job. Also, part of his job was he had to go, or something he had to do was he had to go recruit fans of Black Clover and anime fans and get them to help. And it wasn't even his job to do that, but he did that because he was not given enough support by the people in charge. Like, honestly, there's no, he's not a Black Clover fan, obviously, so he's probably not going to know that. But saying that, with all of the shit, the terrible conditions that the animators had to work in, the terrible time limits they had, and they still, don't get me wrong, is Black Clover the best quality animation? No. That is 100% serviceable, though. I think that people put a bit too much, into how good an anime must look for it to be good. Sure, it's an anime, so it needs to have animation. But story and characters are always going to be number one for me. And I think that's going to be number one for most people, as long as it's serviceable. And it is. And there are times where it's more than serviceable. But, as I said, outside of saying that the animators didn't have love for the series, he is right about, this point, that the anime, the quality of it was not great in terms of the actual animation.
I'm partially correct, since it seems like they had great troubles with lack of staff and had to outsource a bunch of their work. Still, I can't believe this is the same studio that gave us OG Naruto, Shippuden, Bleach. You'd think that they know a thing or two about making a shonen. Let's look at some examples.
Yeah, which shows that it's even more their fault to make Black Clover in that state with that much money.
Patoli vs Yami. The first half of their battle was a slow-paced slideshow of gifs in comparison to the next episode, which brought a bunch of dynamic movement, nice camera work, and frames. See for yourself. If episode 35 looks like it has been produced by an experienced anime studio, episode 34 next to it looks like it was made by a single student in between classes using some trial version of the editing app. Because what in the name of Adobe After Effects?
I get that he's probably just joking there, but to boil animation down to just that, I think it's a little disrespectful to the animators who don't get, proper recognition for their work, have bad work conditions, and do not get paid very well.
Is this. I know it's a different episode, but I swear I've seen these exact particles in Mortal Kombat 1995. Then there are plain animation errors that shouldn't get past quality control, like with Asta over here. Shouldn't get past quality control, like with Asta over here. Or Magna's glasses in this case. I haven't edited it. There are timestamps of these exact moments, you're welcome to check. It's simply disrespectful towards the audience. Can you imagine My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, or Jujutsu Kaisen?
Okay, I remember watching this, bro, all seasonal anime with way better handled productions versus a weekly series, bro.
Fucking up like that? Well, you don't have to, because there is a recent precedent with MAPPA and JJK specifically. I won't go into details as, even though my heart does go out to their employees, this topic is outside my area of expertise, so let me focus on what is. Animation. Obviously there is a difference, it looks raw and less polished, but the art style is consistent, emotions are properly displayed, and the action is still bombastic. If anything, I got a bit of a One Piece vibe with all these free-flowing lines giving the show a more artsy look.
Like, I don't get it, right? Like, this is a seasonal anime with... Actually, is this One Piece right here?
Although, I got to admit, I do see a lot...
Was that One Piece? That almost looked like One Piece. Did he switch to One Piece? I don't know. But, because I was reading chat, I actually wasn't watching the last few seconds, but... Again, comparing seasonal anime. Like, I think My Hero is usually 6 months on, 6 months off. JJK, it was like 2 years off before a new season came. I think Demon Slayer has decently long breaks too. Like from what I know, these seasonal anime get way more time to make. But I don't know. I don't think it's ever fair to compare a seasonal versus a weekly. Like, unless if you're going to be, like, clarifying it.
And surprisingly, makes these moments appear very cinematic. It's clear that there was a struggle during the production process. However, the love, the sweat, the tears are still present, and as a result, it's beautiful, because the core of the animation is. Black Clover, on the other hand, it doesn't have one. It's a constant fluctuation of quality, style, questionable design choices. Like, why is there a pixelated wave of shit in the middle of a fight? It doesn't match the color scheme of anything else, and is completely out of place. Constant fluctuation of quality, style, questionable design choices. Like, why is there a pixelated wave of shit in the middle of a fight? It doesn't match.
It's not a wave of shit, it's a wave of fire, bro, because he's fighting a fire user.
The color scheme of anything else, and is completely out of place. Then there is 3D that looks worse than the Dark Young, movement with no force behind it, along with frequent recycling of shots, which should never happen. Another thing that should never happen is stealing ideas, aka plagiarizing.
Oh god, the best part.
Should never happen. Another thing that should never happen is stealing ideas, aka plagiarizing. I've completed a university program and I'm well aware of what paraphrasing plagiarism is. It's when you use someone else's writing with some minor changes and present it as your own. Yeah, you can sue Black Clover over it, but you also can't deny that it took excessive inspiration from other shows.
Okay, he's being vague with wording it, but he is, like, implying that this is plagiarism. He literally lists plagiarism in the description, in his timestamps, and then mentions in the video. Bro, are you really gonna tell me that, oh, I went to university, and then mention plagiarism, and try and compare this to plagiarism? That would be an absolute joke. In fact, if your university had any form of, like, media or creative writing program, and you brought this segment of your video to them to argue it was plagiarism, they would probably laugh at you. At the very least, they'd say, no, this is not plagiarism, because it's not. Plagiarism isn't similar ideas. Plagiarism is something that is way more concise than just similar ideas.
Shonen. For example, the first episode is Naruto in a nutshell. Everyone passes the selection process, MC doesn't, so he has to go through some shenanigans with a bad guy to unlock the whatever ability he will use every chance he gets, while saving an important person in the process who says that they've always believed in our boy. Out of all the shonen I can think of, these are the only two first episodes that share so many similarities, and if...
That's funny, because why are you limiting storytelling to shonen? Not other manga or other series across the world, because Tabata, he's not inspired by just shonen. He's inspired by seinen. Berserk is a seinen. He's inspired by Lord of the Rings. Inspired by Harry Potter. Why couldn't you have got these from anything besides shonen?
If you're saying, well, it's an homage, these stories go in totally separate directions.
They do.
Maybe later, because Asta's first mission happens in a village held hostage by a bad guy who killed the hero of said village. There is a bridge, there is mist,
there is a bridge, there is mist. Bro. There's a bridge?
happens in a village held hostage by a bad guy who killed the hero of said village. There is a bridge.
There is a bridge! They are building a bridge. What?
There is mist.
And I'm not... Okay, I want to clarify. I'm not making fun of his voice. That's actually a meme from Call of Duty World War II. Or no, Call of Duty... Yeah, was it World War II? Yeah, Call of Duty World War II. Not making fun of your voice, so if you thought that, no. It's just it's a funny meme. But there... Oh, man.
Mission happens in a village held hostage by a bad guy who killed the hero of said village. There is a bridge, there is mist, there are ice users, and there's even a grave overlooking the area.
There's ice users. One of the most common abilities in fiction. Ice users.
The hero of said village. There is a bridge, there is mist, there are ice users, and there's even a grave overlooking the area at the very...
So yeah, grave overlooking the area. That's overlooking the area. That's overlooking a forest. And also, of course, they're going to show a grave if a character dies. That's kind of what happens. If characters die, often we get scenes of their grave. Because that's, in a lot of cultures, when people die, they get buried into graves. So it's like listing a bridge. One of the most common forms of architecture you can put in a story. Ice powers. A character dying. A hero dying. A grave. When those are two connected things. A character dying in a grave. To argue that this is plagiarism. Man. Oh my.
very end. You can't make this shit up. Well, one show did and the other shot.
Oh wait, I thought you were only talking about episode 50. Or up to episode 50. I mean, I know you already contradicted that by bringing up other stuff. Like, you brought up episode 63, you brought up Licked, but, man, the fact that you think this is plagiarism, I mean, you can look. Those are actually two different symbols, for one. For two, these symbols predate Black Clover or Naruto. These are mythological symbols. And also, reusability is a lot more rooted in mythology than Sasuke. I think this is this Sasuke? Reusability is called Tengensu. In mythology in Japan, there's an ability called Tengenjutsu, which has these symbols, and it has to do with fortune telling. Which fortune telling is basically foresight. His ability is, it's not foresight because it's present sight, but if you can see everything in the present, you can see the future. And I repeat, the final fight does not happen on the bridge in Black Clover. Yeah, that's true. They just crossed the bridge. There's a bridge leading into the city. But actually, I'm gonna be probably doing a video on that because this whole idea of Tengensu, and actually the whole idea of the Land of the Sun arc, Tabata just took a mythological story and retold it. And in that story, which features a multi-headed dragon and a lot of similarities to the Land of the Sun arc, that's where these symbols, like I think, are these Tomo? That's where, that story is where these symbols are founded. So to say that Tabata is taking this from Naruto and not Japanese mythology is really weird. But bridges and ice powers, bro.
Gundam. But wait, there is more. Let me introduce you to Gaara of the Ice, an emotionless war machine from another country who was bred to be an ultimate weapon from birth, who killed the person they held dear, who can use his abilities whilst...
Mars is not bred to be a weapon from
But wait,
birth.
there is more. Let me introduce you to Gaara of the Ice, an emotionless war machine from another country who was bred to be an ultimate weapon from birth, who killed the person they held dear, who can use his abilities while standing...
Yeah, this is an archetype. This is an archetype of a character. How many times in a series is there a militaristic character who is like Mars? This is an archetype.
Standing still, who can pilot an elemental mecha, who has a change of heart after the defeat, and who makes people around them surprised that they can say thank you.
Oh my
Are
God.
you for real? Ain't nothing wrong with taking an idea, giving it an interesting spin, and putting it in your story. Jujutsu Kaisen does that occasionally with, let's say, their version of Ido Tensei. Both spells require a piece of whoever you resurrect, both take over
So basically his point is it's okay when Jujutsu Kaisen does it, not when Black Clover does it.
life human, and both carry certain risks like a person overpowering the jutsu. They even did the same find inner peace and fuck off back to afterlife type thing. Sure, it's not a completely original idea, but it's implemented in a creative way with the little spin I was mentioning. That's the Black Clover's problem.
Oh,
they
you're right.
Take
He said Gara of the Ice. Even though he has mineral magic, he doesn't even have ice magic.
ideas from other shows and don't improve them whatsoever. Black Bull's HQ is practically Fairy Tail Guild. Black
oh my god.
Market is a less protected.
Bro, I forgot about this point of the video.
Mentioning. That's the Black Clover's problem. They blatantly take ideas from other shows and don't improve them whatsoever.
Bro, this can be said about literally everything ever released. Because if something is released, it's taking from something else. That's how the human mind of creativity works. Everybody is inspired by everything they experience. But, he said, he talked about improving upon it. Yo, that is subjective. So I get it, like, this is a critique. Critiques are subjective. But if people think it's done better, then it's not a critique. And then really bringing up plagiarism at all is not a good point, because all that matters is that if the idea was done better. I don't know. See, I remember that, electrician, and thanks for that $5. I appreciate that. The bridge in Naruto was relevant to the plot. That bridge in Black Clover was just a random bridge. Yeah, I vaguely remember that being important. I mean, it's been so long since I read the beginning of Naruto. But yeah, I remember that actually being important to the plot. I'm Stratos to appreciate that $5. Blood straight up brought up JJK's differences, but it's just, yeah. He's bringing up JJK, its similarities to other series, and then saying, oh, well, it's different, and it's better. But Black Clover's is very different. They're not as similar as you're portraying it to be. It's, honestly, by this point, it almost seems like an agenda video. But if people think that it's done better, then why does it matter if you're bringing up plagiarism? Then the idea of plagiarism being a bad thing is wrong, as long as you make it better. Then there's no reason to even bring it up.
Black Bull's HQ is practically Fairy Tail Guild. Black Market is a less
Black Clover is Fairy Tail Guild. Or Black Bulls is Fairy Tail Guild. Guy, guilds have been around for so long. Predating Fairy Tail.
protected diagonally.
Black Market. Oh. But then again, to be honest, Tabata did state that he is inspired by Harry Potter. So he could have gotten the Black Market and Black Clover and, you know, taken inspiration from that to be for Black Clover. So he took Harry Potter's Diagon Alley, put that in Black Clover. Tabata has said he's inspired by Harry Potter. But I'm sure that guy does not know that. And so he's just looking at, oh, Black Market, when, my guy, black markets exist in the real world, nobody has any sort of claim to putting black markets in fiction. And also, this is, like, the black market in Black Clover is overall such a minor thing. Like, typically with plagiarism, it needs to be major things.
Ball attack is literally a unison raid, it even looks the same. Then there is the cast.
Oh wow, he's comparing it to Fairy Tail, not Naruto. That's actually interesting. I've only seen one person compare that to Fairy Tail, that's Arax. Which honestly, I think that it's funny. Because it did happen in Fairy Tail before Naruto. But Naruto fans claim that move, but...
Duo is a blend of many cliches, but they remind me of Hinata and Kageyama, followed by, in no particular order, Kana Alberona. Ball attack is literally a unison raid, it even looks the same. Then there is the cast. Main duo is a blend of many cliches, but they remind me of Hinata and Kageyama, followed by, in no particular order, Kana Alberona, Hinata Senju, Tsundere Ida, Byakuya Hitsugai's love child, Ban and Meliodas' love child, typical high school delinquent, Marilyn fucking Manson, Tinker Bell, none from the rip. Cliches, but they remind me of Hinata and Kageyama, followed by, in no particular order, Kana Alberona, Hinata Senju, Tsundere Ida, Byakuya Hitsugai's love child, Ban and Meliodas.
Ban and Meliodas. He meant Gil and Meliodas. Bro, is this really what we're gonna be doing here? Like, because he looks similar to them? Like a fusion of them? Remember, this isn't the plagiarism segment. Like, this is laughable at this point. This is legitimately laughable.
Hitsugai's love.
And, I mean, yeah, Tabata's a Bleach fanboy. He says that he's making a manga inspired by Bleach. Yeah, Nozel, he looks similar to Byakuya. they have similar stories too, but I mean, this still cannot be plagiarism. They are still different designs.
Love child, Bon and Meliodas love child, typical high school delinquent.
Typical high school delinquent, bro. Man, it's almost like it's an archetype that, like, these archetypes are in so many different manga. Why does Black Clover have to exclude all these archetypes? But then, other manga can include it, and it's fine.
Delinquent, Marilyn fucking Manson, Tinker Bell.
Marilyn Manson. Yes, Tabata's inspired by fairy tales. It's like, it's almost like saying like, oh, well, Tabata put elves in his story, even though elves are a concept that exists in our world. Like, why are you using an elf, bro? People have already used elves. Like, so weird.
None from the ripoff church, Kenpachi on weed, Hanji on crack, Zeno on ecstasy, Ulquiorra on meth, Clover on ghoul, Necromancer Natora.
What, he compared Zagreed to Ulquiorra? What? He didn't even get the comparison right.
Ripoff church, Kenpachi on weed, Hanji on crack, Zeno on ecstasy, Ulquiorra on meth, Clover on ghoul, Necromancer Natora, Naruto the Wizard King, another totally competent king.
He literally used a Photoshop, but
100% bad guy, 80% bad guy. Alright, I agree, I got carried away there, but that's all to cope with the situation, since we're about to get what frustrates me the most about this anime and why I even made this pitch, which is turning out to be one of my longest videos to date. The number one reason that causes depletion of all serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine in my nervous system is that this show can be fucking good! You've heard that right, this piece of crap has
yeah, and it is good. W's in the chat, boys. Black Clover goat.
everything to be a good shonen, and they even showed it to me, but then they spat in my face by diminishing—
Yeah, wait, so like, remember, this guy is like a JJK defender, essentially. He's made multiple videos defending JJK. You have Gege just blatantly stating, like Gege Akutami, the creator of JJK, blatantly stating that he took designs from a Naruto character to make Gojo. Why is that okay? Why is it okay when that happens? And also, just because a character looks similar doesn't mean that Tabata was trying to make that character look similar. Like, for one, I can't remember what the concept is called. I think it's called like a creative parallel. It's when two people come to the same conclusion, and whether it's like a written thing or an artistic thing, like a drawing, and it can look incredibly similar without them having any collusion to each other. And they could be separated in a vacuum and still make something similar. And that's going to happen when you are making all of these different characters. Your characters are going to look like other people. And this is a very common thing. Like, if you're like, let's say, let's just keep going to the video. This is going too long. I just realized it's almost 6 o'clock for me.
the entire thing to an annoying amalgamation of tropes, borrowed ideas, cheesy systems, none of which bring anything new to the table. No, the entire thing of crap has everything to be a good shonen, and they even showed it to me, but then they spat in my face by diminishing the entire thing to an annoying amalgamation of tropes, borrowed ideas.
Annoying amalgamation of tropes. Basically, every single piece of fiction is just a bunch of tropes amalgamated. And it's, again, it's subjective if you think it's annoying. That's your point. That's your opinion. But it being an amalgamation of tropes, not a valid point. It's simply not a valid point. But saying that the way the tropes were aligned, valid.
Ideas, cheesy systems, none of which bring anything new to the table, nor do they execute any of them well. Not to mention the most abhorrent—
I would disagree. Why does the Black Clover magic system not actually have, like, I think Black Clover magic system is good. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I like the idea of like imagination being involved and characters getting spells based off multiple factors, like their inborn talent, how hard they're working, getting spells based on the situation they need. Like, that's what I think is cool about the Black Clover power system, that instead of Yami just getting a limit break like in Dragon Ball, where he just got strong enough to break through that dimension, he got a spell called Dimension Slash, which was good for that situation, and it is good for other situations, but it's not good for every situation. It's not just a simple power-up. Like, I think that's a cool thing, and that would make sense. Like, if you have this supernatural energy, and you can form it into an element, and that element and that energy is also bonded to your soul, which is also bonded to a grimoire, which manifests more complex versions of your magic, then it makes sense that your soul is gonna like make something that'll fit the situation if all the right requirements are met. Like, that's what I think is cool about Black Clover's power system. I also like that while sure it's got the classic side to it where yes, like power is important, it's also got a lot of good abilities and other factors besides just magic power. Like, it's got physical strength and elemental matchups. Like, is the power system bad? No, absolutely not in my opinion. But I don't think it's the best, but I don't know. He didn't really go into deep why the power system's bad.
None of which bring anything new to the table, nor do they execute any of them well. Not to mention the most abhorrent animation I've seen in all my 20 years of watching anime. You can't show me a cool magic...
Yeah, that was actually dope. I'm sorry. Episode 63 is dope. I don't know why it's become cool to hate on, but episode 63 is goated. I don't care.
Ideas, cheesy systems, none of which bring anything new to the table, nor do they execute any of them well. Not to mention the most abhorrent animation I've seen in all my 20 years of watching anime. You can't show me a cool magical world, ambitious underdog, instant rivalry setup, fantastic soundtrack, epic power-up, good fucking animation in the first episode, and then make me watch this? Let me tell you what's so good about this story, starting with harsh topics that it covers. Immediately, we get racism, classism, and other forms of discrimination based solely on what people can't really control. Magic. What was given to you, you'll have to deal with, and you'll be judged along the way. Even if you get the best shit, you won't be praised by everyone. You'll be pressed, because others don't like it when their position of power or authority is threatened by an up-and-coming prodigy. As a result of...
See, like, why does he understand that with Yuno? With, like, oh, Yuno has a 4-leaf Clover Grimoire, he has the Wind Spirit, but he still gets, like, mistreated. But then, like, expects Asta with a 5-leaf Clover Grimoire to get, like, crazy high treatment when... Yuno is just like literally a 4-leaf Clover Grimoire wielder, like using the same type of Grimoire as the first Wizard King. So why is it in this situation he recognizes for Yuno but not for Asta?
That there's a huge disparity in the society. Those who have great magic look down on those who don't, and RMC being completely magicless presents another level of challenge that most other stories simply don't have. Yusuke, Ichigo, Luffy, even Deku all get that magical attribute, while Asta doubles down on his magiclessness and gets a tool to bring others to his level. This is an incredible setup, and a way more compelling argument for being feared, hated, discriminated against than that of Naruto, for example. After all, nobody knows how this is possible.
Now, I also want to mention, because people keep bringing up episode 63 in the chat, he has said he's only reviewing episode 50, but then he's talked about episode 63 on multiple occasions. So, has he just seen some clips of episode 63, or did he watch it? And that's the other thing. Episode 63 is a lot better in context if you know everything that's going on, the weight of it. Animation can look or be perceived or felt better if you know the full context behind it. Because then you can appreciate it, even if it might not look as good to you. It's expanded upon if you know what's happening. But if you just watch episode 63, or just that fight in episode 63, how much are you missing out on? Probably a lot if you skip ahead.
Discriminated against than that of Naruto, for example. After all, nobody knows how this is possible, or those who do know that it comes from devils. Either way, it's not a good look and should be treated accordingly by everyone around him. By the way, who do we have around them? More beautiful gems. Yuno might not have the story as elaborate as Sasuke's, but he's a far better rival to the MC because of their previous connection, their dichotomy, and generally warm feelings towards each other. Yes, they get into some sibling-type fights. Still, they care about one another and want both of them to succeed. Next, we have Noelle, a great addition to the team for reasons I've mentioned before. She is a royalty and comes with an appropriate package. She will have to perform a lot of self-improvement, not only to deal with her trauma, but to become a better person as a whole. I really liked the direction she went during their first assignment. Royalty is given all this mana to safeguard people, not to bring them further down. Then there is Yami, who's just awesome in almost every department, Black Bulls with their own struggles who welcome and support their newbies regardless, followed by stark contrast with Golden Dawn, where Yuno has to fight tooth and nail to get even a modicum of recognition. As for the grand plot...
Again, he's mentioned it again. Like, he's basically praising that. Like, that Yuno is a 4-leaf Clover Grimoire wielder with a crazy amount of magic power, and has the Wind Spirit, but gets shunned by the Golden Dawn because of who he is. But then in his previous critique, is like, well, Asta's a fifth leaf Clover Grimoire. Why isn't he getting treated like, you know, this, like, basic, like, a god or whatever, or like a fan insert or a self-insert character of everybody praising him? It's because of the way the class system's built in. So, like, again, to me, it's just weird why it's good when this happens to Yuno, but not Asta.
There is the conflict with the elves, devils, humans, other kingdoms. It's all very interesting to read about in forms of articles, but to actually watch it, I can't. My expectations just don't align with what I'm given at all. I've brought up many examples, a few more won't hurt. Yami and Asta's dialogue after Veto's defeat, which put a final nail in the coffin of my desire to continue watching. Our main character expresses sympathy and attempts to understand his enemy, while the captain, instead of contributing to his development and turning it into a mentorship moment, just laughs it off and tells Asta not to think too much about it. What? We just got a bunch of hints that these guys might not be some one-dimensional villains we thought they were.
I mean, that for one, saying not to think too much about it is advice, because this is teaching him what it is to be a magic knight, that sometimes you're gonna have to kill people, so you can't dwell on it. Like, sure, in a different universe, maybe this guy you killed, who's a bad guy, could have been, like, you guys could have been friends, you guys could have been on the same side, but that's just thinking it. If you're gonna dwell on it, you imagine the PTSD and depression that go through it, where if you're thinking about that for every person you kill. And while it would be subjective to dislike the comedy aspect of it that he'll get into, when it comes to very morbid things happening, that's just a very common thing that people do. Comedy, people will laugh at things that are very morbid, very it's a stress response, or it's just a cope response. So I don't know, I thought that scene was very beautiful. I don't think it was ruined by Yami. I think that is good advice. If you're gonna be thinking about this, about every single person you might kill, might not be a very good job for you to have, because if you dwell on it, it might make you hesitate to stop a bad guy in the future, and thus more people being harmed.
And you so casually shut it down? The potential at that moment was so great, yet you gave it the most generic, don't worry, follow your dream spin, and turned it into some pathetic joke. Oh, Asta's hands are fucked up, he can't remove his blindfold, lol. I was so pissed.
See, like, I get, it's like, okay, this is turned into a joke, but what did Yami do? And, like, this is a very common thing, and if people are upset, they want to laugh, or you want to make them laugh, get their mind off of it. This is a funny scene, like, now Asta's distracted. Now he cannot see. He's focused on not being able to see. And he can't fix it because his arms are broken. Like I get disliking it, but I don't think it's that bad at all. I think that Yami's advice was good. And messing with Asta is only going to help him, like, get out of that funk faster.
Notice this moment, Kahuno's song. That was so good, it made me sad, because the show clearly has the ability to make something beautiful, but it just doesn't. They keep giving me mediocre crap with simple dialogue and even simpler animation. Another plot development that infuriated me was what they did with Fugolion. This was one of the few fucking nobles who had something resembling a head on his shoulders and who gave good advice to both Asta and Noelle. What do they do to him? Remove him from the show for a good while. Who the fuck needs him?
Actually, so somebody also added on, and it made me think of it. That's literally Yami's character. And yeah, remember, key users, people who use key at Black Clover have a better sense of how other people are emotionally thinking. Which means that Yami, what he is doing to Asta there, he has a greater sense of what Asta is feeling thanks to his key, of like what Asta is feeling emotionally. Therefore, him doing that to him is a more educated guess of how he can help him cope through what's going on than the average person in Black Clover. Because he with Ki, he has a supernatural sense to Asta's emotions.
It could have been Dickface who lost his arm, the plot would have been mostly unaffected, and we would have had one more decent character in this bitch. Cause he was the only person who gave this whole royalty some
you know what? I'll say that this man's cooking. Like, he didn't get, like, that far, but yeah, it's fraud Golion, bro. Like, I was a Golion stan for so long. And now, I will say, I disagree that it's wrong to have Fugolion get hurt so early. What Tabata fumbled with, in my opinion, was bringing him back and doing nothing with him. But it is fraud Golion. Fugolion's a fraud.
Depth, and served as a great tool to explore social issues highlighted in the show. Julius kinda does that, but...
And actually, Yotamagote, that's a good point. Fugolion's, not death, but loss showed the power of the Eye of the Midnight Sun and what we're dealing with that they can actually take down a captain. Because before that, most of the characters that the villains were like more so lackeys. So this was showing that they are packing a punch. We just haven't seen those guys yet.
But he's the Wizard King. His situation is a bit different and doesn't suit this role as much. Lastly, I want to mention one more bane of my existence: fake out death. I already dislike when characters survive the most bullshit situations, and when you make it seem that they won't survive while they still do.
This is what I don't get, man.
Like when characters survive the most bullshit situations, and when you make it seem that they won't survive while they still do.
Chapter, it literally says right here, chapter 300, and this is 304. Why? Why are you bringing this up if you didn't watch it? Because then you're giving off the impression that you are critiquing this scene without even having read it. I think that's an issue. But I don't know. I mean, like, for one, I think that Gaja's fake out death was not good. But when you're saying you're reviewing 50 episodes of an anime, and then you're throwing in critiques from stuff you have not even experienced about the series, I don't think it is necessarily adds to credibility in the critique. That's my thoughts on it. So Mythic TV, you say, so that's like kind of part of the gag, is that Yami and Asta are like good at reading emotions, but Yami's not good at reading Charlotte's. And it could be of like his love, or because he definitely, it kind of is confirmed he has a crush on her. And I think that is just blocking it. And I think it's just a gag. But no, he I don't think he knew and he was trying to like say no, that can't be possible, or he just didn't know and that's just part of it. But yeah. Even though I agree with this critique that like this is a bad fake out death. Honestly, if one of these characters died, preferably Gaja, this scene, in my opinion, is better. But it's just weird to throw in this critique when you haven't even read it.
It makes my blood boil, and I'm glad I never got this far.
See, I don't get my blood boiled over things I haven't read.
Also, don't even get me started on resurrecting people. Kabuto didn't bring as many back in Naruto as the elves did here.
See, and again, he's critiquing parts of the Elf Saga he hasn't read. Like, what is the critique?
Don't even get me started on resurrecting people. Kabuto didn't bring as many back in Naruto as the elves did here.
So they brought back two characters. Two characters who recently died. Besides that, all the other characters that were brought back as elves are non-characters. They're just alternative souls inside of other characters. Now, technically they are characters. Like, Rufel is a different character than Luck. But they are basically alternate versions of characters from 500 years ago. Yeah, the elf spirits went back. Yeah, and that's the other thing. And I don't remember. Like, please remind me. Didn't Kabuto bring back people who were more recently dead too? Like characters who were actual characters, not like secondary souls inside of bodies. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. Well, because I haven't read War Arc in forever. I will be rereading Naruto this year. But I thought that he brought back more characters that had died recently, not 500 years ago. Somebody says yes. People want to... Oh, people are saying I'm right. See, like that. This is why, like, if I'm correct, that he's bringing back multiple characters that had died recently, then he is critiquing something he hasn't watched, and it's showing. And like he's already admitted because he's only seen 50 episodes or whatever. But these are the only two characters that actually died. Beto and Fauna died. And actually, Fauna didn't die. Fauna did not die. She just was able to break the reincarnation spell and get her body back. Remember that. Veto is the one who actually died. Kabuto revived everyone except Jiraiya. Yeah, so like all the elves did was reincarnate people who were basically non-characters, and then revive Edo and Fauna. Like, this is why this is out of pocket. He just hasn't even watched it, but it's just weird. Why love critiques of things you don't know what you're talking about?
After listening to all this, you must be asking yourself a very reasonable question. Why would you watch 50 episodes of the show you claim to hate and then proceed to make this long-ass video? The short answer, I wanted to know what's up because I kept hearing so many good things about Black Clover. My first attempt at watching was out of pure curiosity. I didn't like it and stopped, nothing else to it. But on my second watch, I was determined to figure out what's going on. I just couldn't believe that this show is being praised so much when stuff like My Hero Aka gets a bunch of hate. Oh, it's generic, follows a lot of tropes. Have you seen Black Clover? It not only follows, it blatantly copies them.
No, it doesn't.
Half the class say...
Jesus Christ. See, again, not an argument. Oh, My Hero does it. Oh, well, Black Clover does it too. Bro, it's not an argument. Every single series does this. Every single series does it. People just don't have the same critique on other series. They don't look at it with a very unbiased eye. And now I want to say this before I forget about it, but to me, if you guys were around in the Black Clover fandom for years, think back to 2018 and 2019. How many of those massive tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views videos were posted by big YouTubers hating on Black Clover? And we were all watching and like, wait, this guy's just saying shit that didn't even happen in the series. In my opinion, and I know this is not like what happened. It feels like this guy watched those videos and was trying to make his own version of it. Because as we showed, yes, some critiques are valid. Some are okay. But a lot of these critiques, some are just objectively wrong. Like, Yami could have done it the whole time. What Yami did was an ass pull. All this stuff, but...
Yet no development. Sure, but it's compensated by one of the best villain evolutions in recent years. I agree that Licht's story is cool, though we've seen all that in Naruto and...
Wait. How do you know Licht's story is cool? MAHISTV. How do you know Licht's story is cool? You've only seen 50 episodes.
Evolutions in recent years. I agree that Licht's story is cool, though we've seen all that in Naruto and to an extent in Bleach. Fuck. I agree that Licht's story is cool, though we've seen...
You saw that in Naruto? What did you see about Licht's story in Naruto? Bro, why do you show Demon Licht and show Kurama? Do you... What? I'm so confused. Are you talking about just a massive monster attacking a city? What? What is the point here? I'm genuinely confused. Because have you watched 50 episodes only or not? Because you can't get Licht's story in 50 episodes. And how is showing Demon Licht and then Kurama showing that this was already done in Naruto? What is the connection? A massive monster? Like, Kurama is the nine-tailed fox. Licht is the king of the elves who turned himself into an ancient demon so that a devil didn't get his body. And he's like, yo, my best friend, he can stop me and save the world. Like, and then Kurama sealed inside of Naruto. Licht, dead. What is the connection?
All that in Naruto villain evolutions in recent years. I agree that Licht's story is cool, though we've seen all that in Naruto and to an extent in Bleach. Fuck, even Fairy Tail. As for
Wait. Oh, whatever.
Garaki, I can't think of another villain who went through as much progress as him. Geto is a contender, except he was more...
Oh, ha! This did not age well, man. Kenjaku is a fraud.
Of a hero who lived long enough to become a villain. By the way, the reason I drew comparison with My Hero is because they came out about the same time, not because I used the story of Midoriya as some frame of reference. If you watched any of my critique videos, you'd know that I try to stay objective, compare things to other shows, and support my arguments with examples. I needed to watch the show, at least give it a fair
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You didn't do that for this video.
try so I can create an adequate picture in my mind and be ready to defend my opinion. Yes, my standards are high, though I do watch Demon Slayer and it doesn't make me feel sad. Yeah, a little upset at times cause fuck Season 3. Still, my goal, always, is to understand the subject and express my own unbiased opinion while providing constructive arguments. It was...
Yeah, sorry, again, I don't think you did it for Black Clover. And no disrespect, no hate. Like, honestly, you're a funny guy. You got charisma. Well-edited video. But I just don't think the critique was good.
Mahis, letting it all out into the microphone. Have a great whatever time of the day you have. Until next time, cheers.
Yeah. So that's the video, guys. That was a long one. Man. But I do want to clarify, guys. I don't want you guys to send hate to him. It's just anime. I think that this was enough. But yeah, so that was my big old response to MAHISTV and his critique of the Black Clover anime. Yeah, as we saw, there was just a lot of things that just really bad, just really bad. Again, like you could see, saying you're critiquing 50 episodes and then lobbing critiques at other parts of the series, which, in my opinion, if you're saying you're critiquing 50 episodes and that's all you got up to, and then you are throwing critiques at parts you have just not watched, your opinion can just be thrown out, and that's my opinion. I'm not gonna accept somebody's review of something they have not seen. Now again, first 50 episodes, you brought up some valid points. Oh, and I just realized there's an error in my thumbnail. I just realized that. I did just throw it together pretty quickly though, but I don't know. There's just a lot of things, right? Like stating that Asta's never lost, and then admitting he lost, and then saying no, that doesn't count, or like saying like, oh, why don't people see Yuno as this great thing, or see Asta as this great thing because he has a 5-leaf Clover Grimoire, and then thinks it's good when it happens to Yuno, even though nobody could read Asta's Grimoire and say they couldn't see it's a 5-leaf. Then he says, but then he backtracks and says, oh, well, they couldn't see it. Like, well, then what was the point of critiquing that if you already knew the answer to it? But I don't know, just a lot of things. Again, some things are subjective, but I don't know. Like the thing with Yami, like giving Asta good advice after Veto's death, and then helping him cope with it through like some comedy and messing with him. Like, again, like sure you can dislike it, but I thought that was done very well. But when pain revives the entire hidden leaf. Just rehashed hater sludge. Kristoff, honestly, a lot of the critiques did feel like 2018 or 2019 critiques of Black Clover that were like just invalid. God, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. What was it? Oh yeah, like, and then like the end, they're like, oh, Lick's story was cool. Dude, what is cool about Lick's story? You should know Lick's story if you've only seen 50 episodes. And how you saying the story is cool? Okay, well maybe like he just knows that Lick beat Austin Yuno in a fight, but then saying like, oh well, that's already done in Naruto, but you don't even know the story. There's just so many contradictory things stated here. And then the what got me the most is he's like, I went to university. I know what plagiarism is. Like, it's one thing to say that you think Black Clover is inspired by other series, but to say it's plagiarism, it's a joke. It's genuinely a joke. Oh, you know what, Christoph? You say this guy didn't say anything new, just rehashed hater sludge. Um, what is ironic and to me in this situation is he's hating on Black Clover for saying it does nothing new or doesn't improve like the things it does, but then rehashes a bunch of old takes from 2018 and 2019. €8 from Upsilon. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I went to college, and yeah, they would laugh you out of the building if you tried to argue that those similarities would qualify for plagiarism. Like, and again, like he showed like, oh, it has a bridge, versus bridge being major part of the story. Like, man, back to 12. Oh my god. Thanks for the super chats, y'all. Appreciate that. What are we at now? So we are at 232. I'll change it for the next stream. I'm gonna end it soon. Now, that's too far to say school failed this guy. I'm sure this guy is smart, very capable. Like, I'm not gonna discount his intelligence at all. He just made a bad critique. That's all. Mr. Weaver. Oh, thanks so much, Mr. Weaver. Appreciate that. We're now at 240. Yeah, we're almost there, guys. You know, I'm just gonna update it now. Might as well. Oh, wrong one. But I don't know. I think that honestly, the best points that he brought up are just the animation quality. I mean, obviously, still do not like it all the way he worded it, and like implying that you know, the animators didn't love the series or whatever, even though they put their hearts and souls into it and had terrible schedules and had, you know, fans coming in to finish parts of the story. Like, but obviously he doesn't know that. Oh my god, y'all are killing it. Thank you so much for this little war you guys got going. What's that? 260 now. Y'all are killing it. Appreciate that. We're almost at. I don't know. That means next stream we might be getting it, guys. He said that he read Lick's story. Okay, interesting. Still don't know how that's comparing it to Naruto, but I guess. They're competing, they are. And Mr. Weaver, that says that was your first super chat, so thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for the super chats. Y'all are the goats. Nah, I'd win. That makes his 50 episode critique a bit off. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's off either way. Because let's say he had gotten further, but he's like, okay, I'm only going to critique 50 episodes. But he goes beyond it. He mentions things from episode 100. He mentions things from episode 63. He shows things from chapter 303, 300. He shows things from like chapter like 52? Like, that is not good to do, in my opinion. Yo! Upsilon, what the yo, what? Yo, killing it! Yo! He beat you to it. Thanks so much, guys. Y'all are the best. I really appreciate that. And you know what? Now we got the video funded. Y'all did it. Thank you guys so much, everybody, for helping. Because my wrist is still not getting better. But now we are getting that Black Clover's worst villain video done. Appreciate that, guys. You blame Google for taking forever to process? Fiscally irresponsible. Nah, I'd win. And Upsilon, and honestly, never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna do it now. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate that so much, guys. Y'all are the best. I win. Oh my god. $2. Y'all are the best, for real. I thank you guys so much. So Naomi, I think he did watch. I think he actually did watch it. That there's just clearly things he'd missed. You want to buy every Black Clover manga, but my wallet is shaking in fear. That's the nice thing about being a fan for years, is that I've been collecting them 4 years. So, what is it, like 30-something volumes now? When you've been buying them over the course of 5 years, almost 6 years now, that adds up to what, only like 5 volumes a year? So, it's not that expensive, but if you're trying to buy them all at one time, then yeah, that's a lot. PS Plus is getting canceled because you don't use it. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate that you're helping me out, helping us out, instead of using it or paying for a service you don't use. You're the worst BC villain. Yeah, I'm definitely have to upload this one to my highlights channel. Just because it was actually, I think, very substantive and a fun one. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, that's why, like, it would have been, I think, better if he had just focused on just the 50 episodes. Instead of throwing some critiques at later parts. But worst villain was easy Lucifero. So, worst major villain, in my opinion, Lucifero. You have to pay $1,500 a year to train your dog. Dang. But you know what? Man's best friend, or woman's best friend, that's way more important than manga. And Lone Wolf, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. I really appreciate that. I'm actually gonna, after this, get my next members video done. I have it recorded. Just gotta finish it up. That's a good point, Electrician. Comparing that to the USJ Nomu. Lucifero is underrated. I think that the issue with Lucifero is what happened after, like, I don't know. I mean, you guys will see. I made a whole video. That'll be coming out. You guys, I mean, you guys helped funded it, so really appreciate that, guys. Just spray it with water and give it treats. It's not that simple sometimes. But anyways, guys, this is a long stream, almost 2 hours. I will definitely upload this one because it was a really fun one and a long one. And I know a lot of people want to see it. But I'm at the end of the stream. I will probably be streaming, what is it, Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday. So I want to try and stream Friday, if not Sunday. My goal is I want to get caught up on a few manga and stream every Sunday. Roku, read the video comments. Okay, so let's see. If there's any of y'all in there talking shit, I'm going to be disappointed in y'all.
Royalty every other sentence she speaks, that RMC...
So newest comments. Oh, I already see one of you guys in there. Somebody saying love you. Oh God, some people are being mean to him. Like I said, you can disagree without being mean to him. But I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much, everybody, for coming in, leaving a like, just being here, just listening, commenting. Thanks for the super chatters. Thanks. Oh, did I get a new super chat? I'm gonna read that. Sorry. $5 from Drayden. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Very much supported. Or, oh my God, very much supported. Very much appreciated. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? Been going through lots of your videos. Can't wait to see the next one. Hopefully, my own essay projects are a bit more thorough. Drayden. Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, let me know when you post something. I'm always interested in if any of you guys like have a YouTube channel and any of you guys make a video. I'm actually interested to see what my subscribers post. So, Drayden, if you ever post, always feel free to reach out to me on my Discord on Twitter so I can watch it, because I'm actually interested in stuff like that. But yeah, thank you, Drayden. And yeah, next video will be Black Clover's worst villain. Me talking about Lucifero. But no, Drayden, I actually thought that's what you meant, to be honest. But yeah, anyways, guys, thanks for coming in. Hope you guys have a great day, and peace out.